What's going on? You may be wondering who I am. Well, I'm Drin. I'd like to consider myself first and foremost a man, a son, a husband, a father, a friend. You know, something like an all-around stand-up individual. What am I trying to accomplish here? That's simple. To show and create what it means to raise, build, and uplift true manhood in today's society, starting with myself. And I've decided to take you all along for the ride. So sit back and grab a drink. This is Drin Talks.
All right. So we're gonna start it off. Like I said, welcome. Ha! Yeah, alright. And you know, I was gonna do it on Thursday too, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna let you rock. Never. So we're gonna start it off. Today's topic, leadership principles. I know on my first slide, we kind of touched on this a little bit. Yeah, desrespecto. Yeah. It's good, Justin. I know on my first slide, we touched on leadership a little bit, so we didn't really go too in depth in it. From what I got on that topic, you know, from the first slide, we touched on like, what does it mean for a man to lead? Is it possible? And a lot of people, you know, we were going over how to lead and how to do it in, I guess, such a way of not to be misogynistic or to be an overruling ruler in such a way. So pretty much I decided to break down leadership, right? So I was reading a book pretty much called The Art of Leadership. I didn't finish it. And I remember I told you I was going to finish it, but I didn't finish it. But I did get some gems out of it. And also I was listening to, I guess it was a leadership conference from Dr. Miles Monroe. So a lot of the concepts that I'm hitting you today are from Dr. Miles and then some from this Art of Leadership by J. Donald Walters, right? And when I was listening to this conference, I got hit with a lot. You know, a lot of my leadership, I guess, thoughts have been shaped on what, you know, pretty much what we've been taught in school, what we see on TV, like, you know, a leader's supposed to be in charge and all that stuff. And it wasn't until I really started delving into a lot of things and actually just hearing the speeches that Dr. Miles Monroe was saying, I was like, yo, my whole leadership concept was completely shook, right? Because, you know, you're taught growing up that a leader is supposed to, you know, be the one in charge. You're taught growing up a leader is someone that everybody looks up to. You're taught that a leader can be a leader of men, right? But thinking about it now, it's like one of those concepts like you're taught growing up, be a leader, but then if you follow a leader, then you're a follower, right? You taught don't be a follower, be a leader. But then how can you actually be a leader if you're following somebody? But I never understood the concept of you're not following that person, right? You're following whatever that person is preaching in essence, right? So let's just start. What is leadership, right? So I looked it up, and the definition that I got for what is leadership is the action of leading a group of people or organization, the capacity to translate vision into reality. So those are like basic general definitions of it, right? So how do we really know what a leader looks like in essence, right? If we don't really know what a leader is, how can we really say what leadership is supposed to look like, right? And just to correlate that to men, like as men, we're supposed to be leaders, but we never really had that example of leadership, right? So we don't know what it is, but we're supposed to do this thing, and then we're going off of what we see off TV, what we see imitated to us. Yo, Esteras, what's going on, Papi? But Dr. Monroe literally gave me the best definition of a true leader that I've ever heard in my life, right? So his definition of a true leader is the capacity to influence others through inspiration generated by passion, motivated by vision, coming from deep conviction, cultivated by a sense of purpose. It's a lot, but it's literally like, I've never heard it said that way, right? So true leadership, I'm gonna say it again, is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, generated by passion, motivated by vision, coming from deep conviction, cultivated by a sense of purpose. So if you break that down, right? If you go backwards, right? Because this is how he kind of laid it out. If you go backwards on what leadership is, one, you have to have a purpose, right? That's the main goal of a leader, is to have a purpose, right? With that purpose, now you have a sense of conviction, right? So you have a purpose, so you're like, all right, this is my purpose. This is what I have to do. So that purpose now gives you the motivation to do that, right? So now that you have that purpose, that you have the motivation, now you're looking for the vision of that motivation. Then from that comes your passion. And then from that, that's when you start to inspire others. And that's how you become a leader, right? Because once you inspire others, they're going to start following. So that sense of being a follower, in essence, you're not really following the leader. You're following that leader's purpose, right? So here's just simple leadership skills, right? Communication. You have to be able to communicate. You have to have awareness, self-awareness. You have to have honesty / integrity, relationship building, influence, right? So here's my problem with the influence, right? Because again, this influence part I got just from a definition, right? I Googled it and literally got 10 characteristics of a leadership, right? So influence kind of makes it seem like you are not inspiring people, but in essence, you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulating them, right? You have some type of influence over them. Manipulation to me is not leadership. Because if you can manipulate somebody, that means there's a hidden agenda behind it, right? Whereas leadership, if we go by that true leadership definition, there's a purpose, right? There's a vision that if you had inspired people to do, everybody would see where you wanted to go, right? Everybody has that purpose, that vision in mind, so there's no need to manipulate somebody into doing it. So you don't really have to have influence, in essence, right? Leadership also has innovation, right? They are innovative. They think of ways to do things when there is no way, right? So when you have a problem in trying to seek that vision, a leader in essence, leaders don't have problems, right? They don't see anything as a problem. They see things as, all right, we have to get this done. We'll figure out a way to do what we need to do. And they work tirelessly at that, right? Also, leadership has to be able to delegate stuff, because I think a good leader knows they don't know everything, right? And they have to trust their group and trust the people that's under them, in essence, right? To help figure out, because again, we have one vision. So if that means the vision, if I'm taking the vision one way and we're reaching a cinder block, but this person knows, hey, we can go this way. As a leader, I should be like, let's go this way then, right? So in all this, right, let's bring it back, right? So, like I said, growing up, we're told not to be followers, right? We're told, be a leader, don't be a follower, because being a follower is like, I guess it's the worst thing in the world, right? But then when you get older, you find out like people follow people, right? People follow cults, people follow political parties, people follow, politicians, people follow basketball players, sports athletes. People follow, like that's just what people do. So in essence, you're kind of like, but the general nature of somebody is to follow. And I surmise to you that I don't think our general nature is to be followers, right? I think our general nature is to be leaders. Being a good follower is key to being a great leader. Yes, but not in the sense of following, right? Here's what I mean by that. I like what you said. Being a good follower is the key to be a great leader. But it's not, I don't feel like it's following, right? I feel like to be a leader, you have to be a great server. So you're not following, you're in service, right? So if you're in service, it's a whole different dynamic than just following. Because if you're just following, you're going along with the crowd. But if you're in service of something, then you're sitting there going, all right, how can I help? How can I make this vision again, right? Because in essence, if you are going to follow something, you're going to follow the vision. You're not following the leader. You're following the vision. You see a plan, and then you're going to go and enact on that plan. So if you're in service of that vision, then you're going to figure out ways to have that vision complete, which in essence is, if, like I said, if you have a way that the vision can get done faster or better or whatever, then now you become that leader of that action, right? So, in essence, we are all inherently born leaders. How to become our job is to really just become that leader. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where it kind of gets muddy because, like, again, we all learn to be a great leader, you have to be a follower first. Isn't a leader leading people to a vision so that leader, in fact, is a follower of that belief, a vision? Exactly. So that leader, so that's what it is. The leader, if he's not leading people to a vision. That's the thing. So what happens is, I have a vision, right? So this is my vision, right? Thank you for the pride, guys. Is that Charlie or Dina? Either one of you, thank you, I appreciate you. But all right, so if I have a vision, right? So this is my vision, right? I started Drin Talks. I wanted it to be a space where men can come, we can congregate, we can talk, because I didn't have that, right? So my vision was to have a place where men can talk. Of course, we have women here. I'm not discriminating, but just to kick it from a man's point of view. That's my vision. Because I'm now having the vision and I'm having the passion, I have other people that come and watch. So, here's one who can articulate the vision. All right, so the leader's one who... Understood. So now that I have this vision, I'm enacting it, right? And I'm going to just start how I start. I start with who I am, put out my personality, this, that, and third. Now, somebody else might come into it and go, you know what? I like the way he's going, right? It's not necessarily they're following me, but they like what I'm saying or what I'm doing. So now they're following that action and they contribute to that action. It's not really that they're following me. I might have put the bug in their ear, but they're following the vision in essence, right? So now they're going to help in whatever way they can, right? So, because right now my goal is to just put out the product, right? As a leader in essence, because I came up with the concept, my goal is not to get followers. My goal is to get my vision done, right? Yes, that's your hope, because again, people think that they're followers. That's the mentality. But if you had really known what you were created for, you're created for leading, right? But we're gonna get to that. So my goal is to just get the vision done. Whoever comes along now is to help get the vision done. My goal is not to get followers. My goal is to get the vision done. My main goal, and again, we're going to get to this at the end, but I'm bringing it to you right now. The main goal of being a leader is actually to have your vision last, right? The main goal of leadership is to mentor, right? My goal as a leader is not to keep it all to myself, in essence. My goal is to share my vision, share my wisdom, and for it to keep going down generations, right? Because if it dies in my generation, if it dies after I die, then I was never really a true leader. You know? Because a true leader, think about all the true leaders that we've had, right? Even though this is terrible, well, it's not a terrible description right now, but like, look at the forefathers of this country, right? They had a vision of a constitution and of how a country was supposed to be run, right? And they enacted that vision. Until today, this country is running close to how they wanted it, right? So, in essence, they were leaders in that fact, right? Martin Luther King had a vision of everybody being integrated. And to that fact, in essence, we are integrated. Not the way he probably wanted, but we are integrated. I think the main lesson is humility and kindness. We must remember to help and serve others. So yeah, it goes back to how I said in my first thing, is that as a man, we have to serve, right? So as leaders, we have to serve. Those under your leadership, because think about it, think about leaders though. Most leaders are reluctant leaders, right? Most of them don't want to be leaders. You ever really go somewhere and they ask somebody, hey, who wants to lead, or who wants to do this? Or like growing up in church, it would be like, all right, who wants to do praise team, or who wants to do call to worship? And nobody raises their hand. Or in class, who wants to go up and write on the board? Nobody ever raises their hand, right? But then you get picked and you wind up becoming that leader. Or if there was something that you wanted to do, like everybody was so interested in doing it, but nobody really did it. And it was kind of like, all right, I'll just do it for the hell of it because nobody wants to do it. But it's not that you really wanted to do it, but yet you wind up being the leader. Most leaders are literally reluctant. Like the ones who aren't reluctant, the ones who like jump at the chance and stuff like that, you have to really kind of look at them. Not to say that they're bad, but you really have to kind of look at them like, all right, what's your motivation behind this, right? Yeah, like in BMT. I know. So, but I also do think when you are put in that position of leadership, you got to lead from the front. Would you say leaders are influential? So, Sean, you weren't here earlier, right? So in essence, I said I don't quite agree with the influential. I understand what they mean by influence, but the way I would like to reword it is they're inspirational. Because influence to me seems like you're trying to manipulate me into doing something. Whereas if I influence, as if I inspire you, it's a whole different mechanism, right? I'm just saying how I feel about something. You're now inspired to work on it. You're now inspired to be like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Influence is like, yeah, so let me try to make you do it the way I want it. Whereas inspiration means you can do it how you want it as long as the goal gets done. To me. Let me hit you with something that Dr. Monroe said. Cause I'm sitting there like, so I'm working now and I literally am listening while I'm working, and like he was hitting me with a whole bunch of points and I was like, yo, this is crazy. So leadership does not begin with people, it begins with you, right? Everyone is, so not to be too churchy, right? Because a lot of these concepts, of course, come from the Bible, right? Do you think true natural born leaders can choose when they want to step up? Huh, that's a good one. Yes and no. So the question that's posed is, do you think true natural born leaders can choose when they want to step up? To me, it's yes and no. Because you have free will. You can choose when you want to step up or not. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can be like, all right, fine, I'll do it, or I won't do it, right? But there's also a sense of you can't, like, some things are out of your control and you're thrust into that position. Because we'll talk, me and you are military guys, right? We'll talk military. Let's say you're the staff sergeant, captain's dead. Now you thrust into the leadership. you really got no choice at that point. So, but there's other times where like we know many of people who will never move up in a job because they don't want to. Right? They don't choose to do that, right? But it doesn't mean that they're leaders. So I'm gonna tell you a story about me at basic training, right? So me, for those of you that don't know, I was the guidon bearer. By the way, the best job in basic training is to be the guidon bearer because you don't have to do any of the other chores. Your whole job is to make sure you don't mess up with that flag in your hand. That's it. That's your whole job. But if you mess up, everybody will know it. Either way. Anyway, so that was my job as the guidon bearer. But in essence, when I got there, I really wanted to be an element leader. That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an element leader. As an element leader, because there's 4 lines, each line has a leader. As an element leader, in essence, you're kind of like the assistant managers of the dorm, in essence, right? But as I look back at it, I was a leader in my own right, regardless of whether I was an element leader or not. Like, I got the job for literally 2 hours and then they told me I was a guidon bearer. But I was a leader in my own right because a lot of the element leaders, though they had their own thing, a lot of them did come to me for advice. They did come to me to, ask my opinion on things. And then on top of that, I was always in the front. When we marched anywhere, I was in the front. Whenever it was time to go left, in essence, they were taking my cue on where to go because I was the guidon bearer. I was in the front. Lead from the front. That's what my MTI used to yell at me. Lead from the front. So in essence, I was a leader. But then everybody else had their chance to be leaders, even if you weren't in the marching formation. Other people were leaders at, we had a thing called latrine queen. You was a leader at cleaning the bathroom. Like, whatever you said that bathroom did, that's what you did. Esteras, what was your job? But, that's, you lead. And I remember having this conversation with one of the element leaders, right? And he was actually tired of being an element leader. And he was just like, we have no leaders here. That's the only reason why I'm still doing this. And I'm just like we were doing EC, so it was like 2 a.m. And he's literally looking at me like, I don't want to do this. And I was just like, well, I think I'm a leader. And he was like, you think you're a leader? I don't think you're a leader. And at that point in time, I wanted to punch this 18-year-old kid in the face. But that's neither here or there. I had to explain to him how I led. I might not be vocal or whatever, but that like, it is what it is. Oh shoot, I was an element leader when it came to Beast Week. You're right. I forgot about that. But either or, right? So now, the best thing as a leader, you have to be. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. So here's one. So like how I harped in the beginning, right? I said, in essence, we are leaders of men, right? We're leaders of a vision, right? And men follow the vision. You ever notice, like as a man or even as a woman, as a person itself, you ever notice like you're sitting there at work and you really just hate being there? You hate being told what to do. Like, think about it. How many guys, like, I've had this with plenty of my friends where I've talked to them and they're just like, yo, I hate going to work. I hate doing that shit. I hate this, blah, blah, blah. I should just start my own business, this, that, third. Why? Like, anybody ever really sat down and think, why are we constantly hating? Like, I know my wife does that all the time where she's just like, I hate work. I can't wait to start doing this so that I don't have to work anymore, right? But she has that plan, like, all right, I want to go do something. So her vision's there. She just doesn't want to work. Not that she's lazy. She just doesn't want to work for people. Like, I had a conversation with my boy who wind up having his own business off, literally off his love of cars. He literally started an auto body shop, an auto repair shop, detailing shop, off of his love of cars. And it was all from the fact of he just hated working for people. So he just made a car club, and out of nowhere, the car club led to this and led to that. And now he's self-employed. Mind you, he works crazy hours, but he loves it because it's his, right? Because inherently, we don't want to follow another person. The people who have no problem working for people is not that they have no problem working for the person. I think for that part, because like you ever get into a company and it's like the company's vision excites you and you're so excited to work for that company, right? You're so excited because like where they're going, how they treat their staff, it's an excitement of it. But then as soon as you get that bad manager, that bad boss, and you're like, yo, I'm over this whole place. Like, this thing is not for me, or the company just starts going downward. You're like, yo, this is done. I'm over this. I can do this in my sleep, blah, blah, blah. I should start my own business. And that's literally how everybody talks. Everybody talks that way. Why? Again, don't want to be too biblical, but if you really look at the word, it says man was not designed, it said man was designed to lead and dominate. Like, you were designed to lead and dominate this earth, right? But it literally says you dominate, like it maps out what you're supposed to do. The earth, the animals, and your environment, right? That's what you're supposed to lead and dominate. But then we're out here following man, right? It doesn't make sense. You're born to be a leader, and once you go in, like, yo, I'm telling you, Dr. Miles Monroe, look it up. It drops gems. So you're born to be this leader. You don't want to follow somebody. So in essence, what happens is here's where the problem comes about, right? We don't know our gift. And to find that gift, we have to literally take time for ourselves. But what happens is we get into this routine of following. We get into this routine of just going with the flow, getting that paycheck, getting that good. And I'm not trying to bring this towards business itself, but I'm just like, that's just what everybody goes about doing, right? So you get into that job, you get into that routine, and you're literally sitting there like, yo, this is not what I'm supposed to do. This is not what I'm supposed to be. Like, you know, this is not your purpose, but you haven't really taken the time to find your purpose. You haven't taken the time to because even if you are following somebody else's vision, you found your purpose within that vision, right? Because again, you're not following that purpose, that person, you're following that vision. So a lot of us, we haven't taken that time. We haven't really sat down and gotten to know us first. Because if you've sat down and gotten to know yourself, a lot of things will change for you. Like, you'll start to view things a lot differently. If you really sat down and said to yourself, like, yo, listen, I am not born to work a 9 to 5. I am not born to sit here and be miserable and making this paycheck. I'm born to lead. I'm born to do something greater than myself. But you just haven't found that purpose. I think people get comfortable and complacent, and in essence lose in touch with the leader within themselves. Yes, just like you and Sarah said the same exact thing. Everybody gets complacent because it's easy to get complacent. Because think about it, like, you got a safe job, because being a leader, a true leader, is not safe. It's not safe at all. One of the aspects of being a true leader is you have to commit yourself to die behind your belief. And that's dying, whether it's physical death, dying socially, dying economically, dying professionally. You have to commit yourself to die. You could lose family, friends, everything over this. But in that passion, in that commitment, you will find your purpose. And that purpose will now go back to the definition, right? That purpose will now give you the conviction. That conviction will give you a vision. That vision will generate passion. And that will then inspire everybody, right? That'll inspire people. And that's how you get followers, right? That's how you get people to follow the vision. That's how you become a leader. And then on top of that, again, we're going to harken back to this. Like, once you get that leadership position, it's not your job to make sure you keep it. A good leader, a great leader, empowers others. They empower others, and then that way their vision continues on. It's like when I was hearing these concepts, and I feel like, yeah, probably I've heard them before, but I guess now that I'm more open to it, now that I'm more, in essence, getting to know myself, getting to know where I'm more deep within myself, shit hits me different. Shit hits me a lot differently. Like, I remember a situation recently, and like I told you guys in the first Dream Talk, like, I've been studying the Bible more, right? I've been hitting the book of Proverbs. And my whole life, anytime I've read the Bible, I've never been able to quote nothing. I've never been able to really correlate anything. But this one situation happened, and I was telling somebody something, right? I was, in essence, kind of like, we were conversing, and I was kind of giving them advice or whatever. And in that aspect of what happened to this person, I was able to recall what I learned in the book of Proverbs. And I was like, yo, this is what's happening. And this is what you should do, because if you continue to do what you are doing, this is what's going to happen. And to me, it was literally profound to me. Like, yo, how did I just do that? I've never had that happen to me. And then as I'm like studying for this, to give this leadership talk, I'm getting a lot more gems, right? I'm getting a lot more wisdom out of the same books that the same book of the Bible that I'm reading in different chapters. And I'm just like, yo, it's literally, it's crazy. Like, right? So it goes back to, with leadership, is how you think, in essence. It's how you open your mind to things, right? Because in Proverbs 23 verse 7, it goes, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Everybody's heard that. I've read the book, as a man, I had it here. As a man thinketh. They changed it around. They said they took out that in his heart. But that in his heart is the important part, right? The in his heart literally tells you is as you, like, it has to be, that's what tells you it's a conviction. It's not just, okay, as a man thinks, all right, I think I'm going to be a millionaire, and so shall it be. Like, it's going to happen because I think I'm going to be a millionaire. No, you have to truly believe that shit is going to happen. Like, you have to wake up saying I'm gonna be a million. You have to dream about your millions. Like it's in essence is what people do as vision boards, right? They manifest in essence what they're gonna do. They don't know how it's gonna happen, but they know it's going to happen. But because they know it's going to happen, they believe it's going to happen, they start to think of ways how to make it happen. So now your vision's there, your passion's there, so you start literally thinking of ways. And now along that way on how to make your quote unquote millions or whatever it is, law of attraction, exactly. You start to attract people that see your vision and help you with it, right? And then now with they might have been attracted because they could be helping you in your vision because they have a different vision, but because helping you with your vision helps them with their vision, they go about helping, right? And you help them, they help you, and everybody eats at this point, right? So a true leader, everybody in essence eats, whereas people who aren't real leaders but quote unquote leaders think for self. They might help you with your thing because they want something out of theirs. And as soon as they get there out of theirs, they're done with you, right? I tell you, like these past 2 or 3 days, it's literally been eye-opening for me. Eye-opening. So vision sources, right? It says vision is more important than leadership. Without vision, you cannot lead. Seeing the future that is better than the present. So if you have to see the future that's better than the present, that's what enacts you, right? Your attitude produces confidence. So being a leader, you have a great attitude. Nothing should affect you. Your belief system is your source of your leadership. So what you believe. Like, we as people, and I don't know when it happens, because I have conversations with my son, or I'll listen to conversations my son has with my wife, and it's very profound. And I think back to when I was a child and I used to think this way, and then I try to think like, when did all that shit stop? Because my son, right now, he's big into cars, right? And anytime he sees a car on the road, whether it be Mercedes, BMW, he's, oh, I love that car. That's such a nice car. I want to get that car. And now I think right now his favorite car is a Lamborghini. Forgive me, it's Egoista. I don't even know what the car is. But I'm told the car is, I think, $3.7 million or some crap like that, right? But at first, my wife was, so he would ask, Mom, how much is that car worth? And my wife, I think she looked it up, but looked it up wrong and said, oh, it's, I think she said $117 million. And he was just, that's too expensive. I don't want that. Which is crazy, because it's like at that time, I'm just like, at his age, I was like, I'm getting it, whatever, right? But his mind is thinking like, all right, value, right? So he's going, nah, that's too expensive. But then she was like, no, I made a mistake. It's 3.7. And he was like, oh, that's affordable. This is a 5-year-old kid saying 3.7 million is affordable. Because in his mind, all he has to do is figure out a way to get it. Right? And that's, as an adult, I'm sitting there going like, I caught myself doing it, right? He's saying it's affordable at $3.7 million. And as an adult, I'm sitting there going, nah, it's not worth it. Nah, he can't. Like, no, I would never do that, because I'm never going to get that. And I had to catch myself like, yo, the fuck? Why am I limiting myself to what I can get? Why? Because I'm trying to get a job that probably doesn't pay as much, and then blah, blah, blah. So $3.7 million doesn't work. And it's like, why? Even if I get a job, doesn't mean I can't branch off and do other things that will get me my $3.7 million Lamborghini Egoista. Yeah, his piggy bank is growing. So it's like, as children, our opportunities and our mindset is limitless. Nothing is out of our reach, right? Nothing's out of our reach. But as adults, we get pummeled and we get told that we can't do certain things, and it shifts our mindset, right? And our mindset becomes like this whole thing of negativity. But as a leader, you can't have that negativity. You have to be positive. You have to think that no matter what, you can get whatever you want. No matter what, you're going to figure this out. So like, if we really think about it, how many of us are really true leaders if our mindset's like, that's out of our reach? Let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, and it's society that tells us it's not possible. But like, let's be honest with ourselves. How many of us really been like, like, I remember having a conversation with my friends years ago, and we were just like, I don't want to be wealthy. I don't want to be rich. I just want to be, I just want to be able to live comfortable, right? Everybody says this. I just want to be able to live comfortable. What the fuck is comfortable? What the fuck is comfortable? If you really think about it, comfortable is complacency. Why not? I want to live great. I want to live amazing. I want to not worry about shit. But everybody's like, yeah, I just want to be able to live comfortable. Like, like we had a company that's like, I want to live comfortable, not have to be like, I'm worrying about, I want to be able to go to work, come back, like, so we go to work and we come back. We don't work on ourselves, and we just, what do they say? If you don't work on your own self, you work for somebody else's vision, in essence, right? Yeah, it's something that's, it literally, I tell you, like, this past 3 days have been mind blowing for me. So what is true leadership, right? True leadership is not about control. It's about service. When you're a true leader, you're about serving the vision, serving the goal, serving others to reach your goal, right? You're not gonna put down somebody who is following your vision because you think it's about you or you're serving yourself. Like, no, you're about serving that goal, and whatever it is to reach that goal, that's what you're gonna serve. You're serving that vision. True leadership is not about power. It's about empowerment, like I said. We are empowering others to reach the same vision, to reach the same goal. If we decide that we're going to take the power for ourselves, our goal, our vision dies with us. It will not be everlasting. It will not be, it won't go anywhere farther than where we take it. Yo, if you think about it, like, again, not to get too religious on you, but think about, man, fuck it. Think about our churches, right? Think about once a pastor leaves and then the church falls flat. Because I know church I grew up with, that's what happened. We had a great leader, but once he left, church went downhill because we ended up getting a different leader who wanted to go a different way, and he wasn't inspiring nobody, right? He wasn't empowering anybody. He wanted everything to himself. And now I go to the church that I grow up in, I look at it, and it's in shambles. It's crazy, right? True leadership is not about manipulation, but inspiration, right? We don't want to manipulate people into doing what we want them. We want to inspire them. Not to do what we want them. We want them to be inspired by our vision, our goal, and for them to now think of different ways to complete that vision, right? We're going to empower them to think of different ways to be that vision. We're going to be in service to them to complete the vision. True leadership is not about people, but about purpose. Discovering a purpose that you commit to pursue. So once you have that purpose, everything goes. True leaders do not seek followers at all. A true leader will do it by himself. Because in essence, like, I don't need somebody to follow me, right? I want you to follow the vision. If you're not following the vision, then it is what it is. Again, like, I might lose you as a friend or whatever, but I'm willing to lose that connection because I want this vision done. I want to see that completed. Because I think it's, I think this is the thing. A true leadership is self-manifestation. So it's acting on what you feel so strongly about and manifesting that into reality. Hold on. So because I'm trying to keep this to an hour. So here's what I say with leadership though, right? Because this is a problem that we have, with leaders, is that we'll feel inspired, we'll see the vision, and we'll follow the vision, we'll help with the vision. We've adopted the vision, we see how we can work the vision, and then what happens? The person who has inspired us for the vision, right? They mess up, right? They become arrogant. They cheat on their wives or their spouse or whatever. Let's not just make it seem like that. But like, they do something that's inherently left to what the real purpose of the vision is. And now all of a sudden, you're like, if that's what our leader is doing, if that's what the leader of this vision is doing, this vision might not be worth it. And then you're gone, right? That vision now does not get complete because the leader has failed. So as a leader, your character must be pretty much perfect in essence, right? You don't want to be a leader who is inspiring, who's getting people on board with the vision, who's completing this vision and then fall off. You have to live what you're preaching, right? What's the saying? Not practice what you preach, but a leader should be somebody that, will get down in the dirt with you, right? I'm not going to be a leader and be like, all right, you guys do this, but I would never do it. You have to be able to do anything that you say that you want somebody else to do. Because lead by example. There we go. I don't know why I can remember that. You have to lead by example because it's like, why wouldn't you, if that's your vision? Like, if that's your vision, you need to be the first person to want to do everything. But you have to have the insight that to know that you can't do everything. So that's why you delegate it out to other people. But if that delegation, like you delegated a task to somebody, doesn't mean that if that person needs help, you're not the first one. Hey, what do you need? How can I help? Right? Because you're the leader in essence, right? But your character has to be damn near perfect because nobody wants to follow something or someone that's not living what they preach. Nobody wants that. If I'm sitting here saying, we'll take this. I'm telling you about leadership right now. And then if I go and kill somebody, what are you guys going to say? Honestly. Like, I'm talking to you about leadership, how it's insightful and all that stuff, and see the vision, and then I'm like, tomorrow on the news, you see Aldrin killed somebody. You're going to be like, what the fuck was he talking about? He's full of shit. That's exactly what you're going to say. He was full of shit. So now, with me being in this platform, me telling you all this stuff on leadership, I now have to tailor my life to make sure that I don't disappoint you guys. right? Because it's about service. No, I'm now in service of you guys to make sure I don't disappoint y'all. And that's a big thing with our leaders, right? Another characteristic of leader, you have to be uncompromising with your beliefs. Now, I don't want to say you have to be uncompromising with how the vision gets done, or you can't compromise on like how to work about things. But with your beliefs, you have to be uncompromising, right? Because when you compromise your beliefs, again, what you're telling me is that this vision is not important enough to keep your beliefs. So why should I keep it, right? Like, if I compromise, matter of fact, we'll say with our political system, we get these politicians that come up and they go, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this, and we get inspired, we start following and we vote them in. But then little did we know that the NRA's in their back pocket, or whatever super PAC's in their back pocket. So they're just doing whatever they get paid for. So their beliefs have been compromised. They can say, I believe Flint should have new water, but the people who are doing the lead, whatever, they don't want to pay for it, so they pay him to shut up about the water. So now all of a sudden he's not giving Flint new water. So in essence, we just got duped, right? So now this is what we're seeing. Like, everybody's like, I hate politicians. Matter of fact, that's what Trump ran on, right? He was like, I'm gonna drain the swamp. That was his whole thing, because everybody reached a point where they thought politicians were slimy, backstabbing people. All they do is for money. That's why we have lobbyists, right? Lobbyists go and they pay the politicians, and the people in power, people with money, get what they want, because our politicians have no backbone. I give you a politician who fundamentally I don't agree with, right? He's Republican. I am an independent. I'm not too conservative. I'm not too liberal. I lean more liberally, but it is what it is. John McCain. When he was going up against Obama, I didn't want to vote for him. But what I did see from John McCain is he's a man of principle. When somebody was, Obama's from another nation, he cut that quick. He was like, yo, we're not tolerating that. John McCain has repeatedly gone up against his Republican Party, has stand the tone line because of his values, of his principles. He was a person that was like, yo, we are not going to separate our people. We might disagree, but we are still all Americans. That was his value system, and he would not sacrifice that for anything. Nelson Mandela is another person who was willing to give up his life. 27 years in jail? Boom. Gone. Didn't see his kids, nothing. Martin Luther King, his daughter says constantly, I don't know my dad. I saw my dad on the TV. So these are people, are leaders who do not sacrifice their principles for anything. And to be a true leader, I think that's what you need. You need to not be able to sacrifice your principles for anything, which would give you true character. Because once your character is gone as a leader, that's it. You're done. You're done. But, I could keep going on, but like I said, I want to keep this to an hour. And of course, Instagram's going to kick me off. Let me know what you guys thought. Definitely, I will put this up on YouTube. Excuse me. The YouTube channel is Drin Talks, the same thing. Let me know what you guys want to think. If you want, we can do a part 2. Like I said, this week has been very insightful. Thank you, Justin. I knew you would like it because you're very big on leadership. So with that being said, anybody, does anybody have any topics that they want to talk about, or you want to hear me talk about? now is the time to say it. Appreciate you all for coming out tonight, definitely. Yeah, there was a lot of things I didn't even touch on. The dog wants to come. But there was a lot of things I didn't even touch on, but, trying to keep it to time because this is one of those conversations where we can talk all night about it, you know what I mean? But again, is there anything like people want me to speak on, want me to talk about? You want to do a part 2? We could do that next week, part 2 of leadership. So how about this? I'm gonna post out like a feeler on the Insta story on both of my accounts, and then by tomorrow we'll find out if we do a part 2. Finding yourself and inner searching, yeah, that definitely would be a solid topic, especially one that I would probably definitely do. Because like I said, right now, this is me on a self-exploration journey. I think it's been happening for about the past maybe 5 to 7 years. But like, I think this year itself is kind of like really hitting. Like the points are really being hit. Thank you, babe. Love you too. But I appreciate you guys for coming out tonight. I appreciate you guys for listening to me talk. Yeah, alright, Thurland. Why Batman isn't saying, yo, Bobby, get off of my feed, you Superman lover. Ugh, the worst superhero ever. We ain't go nowhere. What you talking about? But, whatchamacallit, I have literally 20 seconds left, so I will see you guys next Tuesday. Come out again. We might have a part 2 on leadership. All right. Have a good night. Whatever. Bye.